Football, the legendary coach who made Ronaldo unstoppable and dominated world football. Episode 41. The live camera swept through the stands where Dragon Country fans gathered, and suddenly stopped somewhere. The fans at the scene suddenly began to cheer, and in the live broadcast room of Longhua National Television, Duan Xian and He Wei were stunned, and then they laughed. Unexpectedly, Liu Yi, the Red Devil King, who has been in the limelight recently, also personally came to the scene to cheer for the national team. I hope his magic can bring good luck to the national team. In the live broadcast room, fans did not expect that there could be such an unexpected surprise. Liu Yi himself wore a mask and a hat to make himself look ordinary, but he did not expect to be discovered in this way. But when he saw himself on the big screen, he knew he was still exposed. Sure enough, a figure like himself who pulls the wind, everywhere he goes, he is like a star in the night, a navigation light in the sea, and a scarecrow in the crop field, attracting people's attention. No way, maybe that's the celebrity annoyance. Liu Yi thought about it, and waved his hand with some desperation, and he was greeted by a cheer from the fans. On the side of the Oman fans, there are also people shouting, after all, there is the world's broadest fan base, Manchester United. This name is not given in vain. For the live game, Liu Yi's appearance is just a small tidbit. After the game began, everyone's attention was immediately focused on the court, and Liu Yi also shouted with everyone, "Dragon Country team, come on." It seems to really cheer up the national team. The national team on the field once controlled the situation, the sideline coach Li Tu-tai, hair blowing flying. The bangs in front of it, which never seemed to stick to the scalp, were always flying in the air. In the 20th minute of the game, Longhua won a corner kick in front of the field, and the number 21 naturalized player Luo Guofu went straight to the back post. The Oman players grabbed the first point, but they did not expect to directly top the head of Zhu Qinjie in the middle of the road. Zhu Qinjie gently rubbed the ball forward, and Wu Lei pushed a kick to break through the door of the Oman team. Dragon Country won a clock, temporarily ahead of Oman. Liu Yi, like other fans, shouted and waved his fists on the sidelines, looking like an ordinary fan. In the middle of the game, Longhua live-streamed the room. He Wei and Duan Xian analyzed the game. As long as we can score another one in the second half, then this ball will be won steadily, and there is still a chance to grab a World Cup spot. Judging from the current scene, this kind of opportunity is still very big. Oman does not have a very good chance, on the contrary, we can play a good attack. Even Liu Yi felt that this game Longhua should have won. After all, whether it was Li Tu-tai or the team members, they could not afford to fail. If even a third-rate team like Oman can't take it, it is better to disband it in situ. As it turned out, in a good situation, Li Tu-tai blew his hair 7 times in 19 seconds and then began to change. Luo Guofu, who was obviously full of fighting spirit and full of impact, was directly replaced by Su Xian in the rear gate, replaced by Arthur Junmin and Wu Xinghan. Liu Yi on the sidelines of the field looked confused. Zhang Yuning, who was obviously suppressed by the other party, "You don't change, what do you change, Luo Guofu?" Su Xian is the only midfielder who can defend. Wu Xi is a front-waist type of back. Defense is useless, not to mention the state is also declining. Now if Arthur Junmin is 5 years younger, then he can definitely hold it on the field, and now there is a metronome on the field, a general offense, and Wu Xi, who is not very good at defense. It is strange that the two can match well. To change is also Arthur Junmin to change Wu Xi, but unfortunately Wu Xi, as the national captain, now seems to be unable to change. Within minutes of that, Oman also equalized, with a corner. Li Tu-tai on the sidelines, while roaring and directing the players, has not forgotten to blow his hair. This guy is estimated to be able to apply for the Guinness records. The most pit thing is that the third substitution replaced Allen with Exxon. Can't you see that Zhang Yuning can't run? Speaking of Exxon's bridgehead, you trade him for a fast-running Allen. The Twin Towers in front of you is a good thing, but do you have that passing ability? Anyway, for this game, Liu Yi was a little dazed all over the field, and he really couldn't understand it. Just after the game, in order to prevent being caught by the reporters, he quickly mixed in with the Chinese fans and left the stadium. Originally he was ready to continue to watch the next game, but now it seems completely unnecessary. Without taking down Oman, the subsequent opponents of the national football team, whether it is real strength or paper strength, are stronger than the national football team, that is, one cannot play ah. The chance to qualify, enter the World Cup, came to an abrupt halt again and became 0. There is no need to calculate any scores, because the probability is always there, but the Chinese team cannot catch up with the mathematical probability. Back at the hotel, Liu Yi was more and more angry the more he thought, turned over the news for a while, and finally saw the post-match interview. Li Tutai said, "We are like children who have left home, and there is no real home field. If it is in China, it may be different." Liu Yi complained in his heart, "If you are in China, you are afraid of being scolded on the spot." Immediately downloaded the 3 or 4 years without logging into the Weibo, after retrieving the password, real name authentication, by the way through the account seriously. Liu Yi, certified content, unremarkable Manchester United manager. Although there are dozens of zombie fans, Liu Yi still angrily scolded, "Can't a big man of dozens of years old point his face, admit that his skills and tactics are not good, is it so difficult?" In terms of Weibo, he is worried about the traffic, and directly doubled his promotion to Liu Yi on the spot. The fishing wheel that had been stirred up and scolded directly exploded in an instant. After all, Liu Yi's identity is no longer an ordinary fan. He is the Premier League giant, who has scored 18 goals in 3 consecutive games and has not lost a single goal, the manager of Manchester United. Episode 42. For a while, 1,000 waves were stirred, and many people said that Li Tutai could not do it, and he could find a way to get it back. Even on the internet there are a few do not force the face, take the opportunity to praise Li Tutai to prove their correctness. One of them is a brain cripple called What Road. Liu Yi does not want to say his name. Disgusting. Now that a coach of Liu Yi's level has made comments, the circle has directly exploded in an instant, and the fans of Longwa football have suddenly felt that they have found an organization and their own people. On the Weibo, the number of fans of Liu Yi exceeded 1 million in just 2 hours. Lu Han, who was filming the scene, got Liu Yi's message of Weibo, and also deliberately sneaked around, helping to forward it. What is the number of fans he has, bringing more traffic to Liu Yi? Other Dragon Banner officials, and Yang Tianbao, Guan Xiaotong, these people have also forwarded. There are also a group of people who want to rub Liu Yi's heat. Naturally they will not miss this opportunity, like what is the big Mimi, Xiaoming brother and the like, naturally will not miss this opportunity. By the time Liu Yi logged into his account again, there were already more than 5 million fans, all of whom were real fans, and he didn't spend a dime. He is not short of money now, but he cannot waste it on sending money to the capitalists. The national team and Li Taoti's Weibo closed the comments in time, but a large number of fans vented their dissatisfaction through forwarding. People Liu Yi said by name, "You don't know how many pounds you have, let's get out of class. Li Tutai is out of class. Inexplicably naturalized players and do not use, what a stupid operation." For a time, the whole blog was discussing this matter. #Manchester United head coach Liu Yi, the hot search for criticizing the national team, directly rushed to the first place in the hot search list. The second hot search that followed was related to Li Tutai. After watching the movements he made, Liu Yi was not vain. After all, he was also the lord who had seen the big scene. The night view of Sharjah, the capital of the United Arab Emirates, is still good. Liu Yi changed his clothes and decided to go out for a walk. After all, he came and took 2 photos to prove that he had come. The temperature is also very comfortable. If the national football team can win today, Liu Yi's mood will be better. Just out of the hotel, not even a few steps away, suddenly a domestic phone call came. Looked at the mark on it, it turned out to be the number of the Dragon National Football Association. At this time, shouldn't we discuss the change of coach, or what else to do, looking for what to do? Idle to this point? For this organization, Liu Yi's evaluation is 4 words: it is better to disband. Is it to take over the national team? Facts have proved that Liu Yi thinks too much, and the national team is not only a football competition, but also a sophisticated person. The moment he picked up the phone, the other party reported to the door, and the words were in a rounded tone, with some lofty taste. "Hello, I am the secretary of the office of the Longwa Football Association, Kai Yunsheng, are you Liu Yi?" Although the other party's tone was not good, after all, it was still polite, and Liu Yi replied to him. "Well, it's me. Mr. Liu, I came to you because I hope that you will delete the blog you sent, which is smearing the Longwa football team and the national team, causing extremely bad influence and damage to Longwa football, hoping that you can face up to your mistakes and then go public." This guy saw that Liu Yi did not speak, and thought that he was frightened, and his tone became more and more severe, like training his grandson. Liu Yi had been wandering around for a while, wanting to relax and make himself feel better. "I didn't expect that this had not yet begun, and I was directly in a bad mood, and the depression in my heart could be imagined." Immediately, 2 words spat out. "Stupid." After scolding, I hung up the phone directly and suddenly felt a lot lighter. Presumably, there are also many fans of Longwa who want to scold these 2 words to the Football Association, which can be regarded as an opportunity to be caught by Liu Yi. Kai Yunsheng, who was on the phone opposite, listened to the beeping sound coming from his ears, and his face was embarrassed and angry. The people next to him, looking at his face, asked, "What's going on?" He just hung up the phone. Those who are engaged in football in the Dragon Country still dare to treat the Football Association like this, which is not to mix. Before they could figure out what to do with Liu Yi, suddenly someone came in to inform them, and Liu Yi scolded them again on the internet, and said something that should not be said. On the Weibo, the angry Liu Yi, with his reluctance to Longwa football and anger at this gang of garbage, wrote down several Weibo. Liu Yi, in the face of such a draw, in the face of the situation that the World Cup is already 100% out, the relevant organizations should not think about what to do next. How can we change this situation? Someone actually called me and said that one of my Weibo had destroyed the environment of Longwa football, affected the development of Longwa football, and caused a bad impact on Longwa football, so let me delete Weibo. How did I not know that I had such a big influence? Delete the game cannot destroy the Dragon Country football. Is it that I died? Dragon Country football will be completely better. It turns out that I have been the mountain that has been pressing on the head of Dragon Country football for so many years. Dragon football has developed to this day. A certain organization deserves to die. It is difficult to blame. Here my suggestion is not as good as disbanding and asking. Needless to say, it is too clear. Just from Liu Yi's content, it can probably be judged what happened. Liu Yi's more than 8 million fans, and still increasing, have stopped doing so, and have commented in support of Liu Yi. Well said, a bunch of corpse vegetarian people have never thought about the future of Dragon Country football. Support Demon King Liu. Director Liu, don't get angry, watch less Dragon Country football in the future, don't affect your level. Inside the Longwa football organization, some people saw Liu Yi's content, directly angry, hands and feet cold, gritted their teeth, and must give this boy who does not know the height of the sky to see the color. Episode 43. Liu Yi's anger has attracted more attention and more people supporting him than before. Many people who are mixed up in the country and dare not speak out have also expressed their support for him. Just the private messages received tens of thousands, except for a few attacks on Liu Yi. Most of them were given him a thumbs up, a grandfather, a man. As for not mixing with the football circle, it doesn't matter, like the stars in the entertainment industry, who cares about you and the Dragon National Football Association? I didn't pay attention to this thing at all, but now I suddenly found that it seems that the heat is okay, and I just rubbed it up. It can't be suppressed at all. Let Liu Yi delete Weibo, that is a dream. As for letting Weibo deal with it himself, it is even more impossible. After all, for Weibo, heat means benefits. In recent years, because of the vigorous domestic rectification, coupled with the rise of competitors, the Weibo has deteriorated. Now don't say that it is to deal with the encirclement, but also to give him a strong promotion, so that he can feel the enthusiasm of the encirclement. Not in the mood to continue to walk around the night view in Sharjah, Liu Yi simply returned to the hotel to lie down, looking at the private message of Weibo, most of which were not certified and skipped directly. The rest of the familiar, football commentators roared. Emperor Huang Jianxiang Huang teacher sent him a private message at the first time. Brother, you are so good, I dare to say it, admire. Con, I'm different from everyone, I'm a foreign mixer, they are so good, they can still put their hands on Manchester United. Also, have time to go back to China to drink and eat together. There are still some former international footballers, there are also large and small commentators, of course, there are also Liu Han's private messages of these stars. Familiar chat 2 sentences, unfamiliar also say hello. Liu Yi is also an ordinary person, but also hope to know more people, make more friends. To his surprise, Daimimi actually sent him a private message. Guide Liu, don't get angry, don't affect your work. Seeing this, Liu Yi was immediately shocked, and Daimimi also had some stories with football, but whether he liked it in his heart or not, it was a personal opinion. However, when Liu Yi was still a dick, it was a true fan of the Big Mimi, of course, now it is also, but he never thought that the Big Mimi and himself took the initiative to talk. Fans of Daimimi know that she is an internet-addicted young woman and the king of staying up late. Although it was now more than 3 o'clock in the morning of the Dragon Kingdom time, Liu Yi still chose to return the private message of Daimimi. Sister Me also stayed up so late. Just 10 seconds after sending it out, I received a message that Daimimi had returned. I also watched the national football game, so angry that I couldn't sleep, playing a few games. After reading this sentence, Liu Yi rolled his eyes. The first sentence and the next sentence can be believed, and the middle sentence cannot be believed. Sister Me also likes football. When I was young, my family often took it to the worker's body to watch the competition, and then I didn't pay attention to it when I was busy at work, but in recent years, because of doing variety shows and some related cooperation, I slowly paid attention to it again. Demimi played such a long period of words, let Liu Yi believe that what she said was true. After all, Demimi as an imperial concubine, the probability of liking the team of Didu is still some. Does Sister Me have that favorite team? I didn't wear some shirts before, even if I wear some shirts, it is also a requirement of the partners, but now I am your fan, how about being a Manchester United fan? What Demimi said made Liu Yi feel some rapid heartbeat. What does this Naima mean? Now the two are fans of each other. Welcome, we at Manchester United welcome such big beauty fans. The two idly talked for a while. Naturally it is inevitable to add contact information, always cannot chat in the Weibo. This thing Liu Yi scolded this time, the next time you log in do not know when. Probably after turning over the game, just as the European preliminary round was also in progress, Liu Yi stopped by to watch the match between Portugal and Ireland. Ronaldo scored a hat-trick to help Portugal simply beat their opponents 3-0, his fourth consecutive hat-trick in this period. Breaking his own record with 3 consecutive hat-tricks. The only regret is that Buffet still has some struggles with the national team, although he has given an assist and a few good passes, but the problem is still obvious. If it were not for the current enhanced version of C. Ronaldo, I am afraid that Portugal would have played a draw with Ireland. After sleeping until the afternoon, I was still ready to watch the national football team and the Australian game, but now it seems that I should go back to watch the live broadcast, so as not to be congested on the spot. Take a good look around. Sharjah is the serious thing, the capital of the United Arab Emirates. The area is not large, belongs to the Middle East cultural city, a few attractions. Liu Yi is not very cold, a day to punch the card to complete. Just go directly to Dubai, come to the UAE, and don't go to Dubai, then what does it mean? As a world-famous tourist destination, it is also a very secular place, and Dubai also takes pains to make money around the world. Took a bunch of travel photos, in exchange for the praise and envy of countless people. Usually small talk and greet people are also a lot more. Unlike the previous, Liu Yi sent a birthday circle of friends, cannot be exchanged for 10 likes. People are always like this, and as you change, the people around you are constantly changing. Dubai tourism is still very pleasant, let Liu Yi temporarily forget the troubles of dragon football. The discussion of him in the country continues, and even some people have begun to attack him, and there are many people who are not convinced by him. Liu Yi is a rookie coach who has just led the team to 3 games, and he knows a fart football. Laughed to death, when Li Tutai kicked the ball, Liu Yi was still suckling. A fool who has gone to shit luck. Manchester United such a strong squad, I can do it too. Episode 44. For these remarks, Liu Yi looked at them one more time, and he counted himself as a loser. However, after Ronaldo's victory over Ireland and Portugal, a remark once again made him attract the attention of foreign media and began to discuss his role for Manchester United. As the best player on the spot, Cristiano Ronaldo used 3 goals to ensure Portugal's qualification for the World Cup qualifiers. In an interview after the game, C. Luo praised Liu Yi. I have been so good lately, so naturally I would like to thank my coach Liu. For me personally, he is the coach who has helped me the most after Lord Forge. In just 3 games, more than many of the big names before you? The reporter felt a little incredulous. C. Luo, you blow Liu Yi so much, does Liu Yi know it himself? C. Luo nodded seriously and replied in the affirmative, yes. For a time, what magic did Liu Yi have, so that C. Luo was satisfied and convinced in such a short period of time, and all the celebrities began to analyze the connotations. Manchester United star Scholes, C. Ronaldo and Liu are just a short-lived spark, and after this period of time has passed, the two will inevitably erupt into contradictions. Seeing this remark, Liu Yi rolled his eyes vigorously. Whether you are Manchester United or Manchester City, but considering that you have robbed Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's position, it is understandable that Scholes is an old friend. Another celebrity, also the old Captain Keane, speaks a lot more reliably. Liu's arrival has made C. Luo become incredible from an aging player, and he has a way to activate C. Luo, which no one else can do. Zidane, who has always been uninterested in the outside world, after resigning from Real Madrid, also expressed his views in an interview with himself. I can only play the full strength of C. Luo, but I can't help him continue to improve, and Liu has done this, great achievement. Good guy Chi Xuanzong stood up and publicly praised Liu Yi, making Liu Yi's fans excited again. The comments of some football professionals before made them have some doubts about whether Liu Yi is lucky or really has some level. Now Chi Xuanzong stood up and spoke, which was the first famous marshal to publicly praise Liu Yi in terms of tactics. In today's football, whether from the perspective of players or coaches, there are very few who dare to pat their chests and say that they are better than Chi Xuanzong. Mendes also sent good news to Liu Yi, saying that his new contract negotiations have made new progress. However, the negotiations are still continuing, and Manchester United's concern is that if Liu Yi pulls his crotch later, it will be the end of the game, and he will pay a big salary in vain. Mendes' side also has concerns. In case Liu Yi has been so bullish, what if he wants less? The two sides were at this border, cautiously tentative. On November 16, the day of the national football match between the national football team and Australia, Liu Yi did not go to the scene to watch the game, but returned directly to Manchester from Dubai. The contract is something that can be related to how much small money they make, and it is natural to be careful. In the match between the national football team and Australia, sure enough, Li Tutai was still sitting on the coach's seat, and it seemed that there was really no danger of leaving class. Liu Yi can only sigh. Anyway, to start preparing for the next Olympic Games in advance, this group of players can catch up. I am afraid there are few. In the first round, I was ready to play against Australia, but I simply lost 3 goals. This time it was a lesson, but it was all the staff in the backcourt, and occasionally Bigfoot kicked off to steal a chicken. But is this possible? He doesn't have the ability. Sticking to it is definitely impossible to keep, and the national football team's usual training cannot adhere to the deadlock of the whole field. Australia conducted 90 minutes of attacking training, shooting 26 feet on goal, shooting 12 feet on target and scoring 2 goals. From losing 3 goals to losing 2 goals, at first glance it seems to have improved a little, but looking at other statistics, the national football team shot 5 feet on goal and 0 shots on target. Looking at the whole game, there was not even the strength to be angry, only dazed and desperate. Even the fans who shouted cheers on the scene were quiet in the back, and no one would doubt their support and love for Dragon Country football, but you gave a little force. The scene of the players leaving the football stadium as if they were running away must have seen many famous scenes. Because he had already qualified early, so in the Portuguese match against Serbia, Ronaldo did not play, directly returned to Manchester, ready to enter the club's game. To avoid Liu Yi from getting bored, Luo also told him a good news, promising that his car was coming. In addition, Mendes also sent news to Liu Yi, saying that the two sides have reached an agreement on a new contract, and as long as Liu Yi is willing, he can sign the contract at any time. Yes, who can refuse to give themselves a raise? The weekly salary of the new contract reached £80,000 before tax, and more than £40,000 after tax, which was a direct 5-fold increase in salary alone. Of course, as far as this contract is concerned, it is still the bottom of the Premier League managers. However, the winning Bonus League and the Champions League have both been raised to £150,000, with the FA Cup reaching the Final Four with a prize money of £200,000 and the champion with £500,000. The prize money of the top 4 of the league is £1 million. If you can get the league championship, then the prize money reaches £5 million. It is conceivable that the club does not think that Liu Yi can lead the team to win the Premier League championship. Champions League quarterfinals bonus $1 million, the top 4 $2 million, the final $3 million. If you can get the Champions League, the prize money will reach $5 million, the same from this amount. You can see that the management still has little confidence in Liu Yi. The most important thing is the portrait right. Manchester United only has the right to use itself, the rest is taken back by Mendes and pinched in Liu Yi's own hands. You know this is a lot of income. More importantly, the contract was not extended and continued until the end of the season. This gives both sides the greatest convenience to regret, and then talk about it later. Liu Yi happily wrote his name on the contract to further increase his wealth, and sure enough, if the poor want to turn over, they still have to open it. Episode 45. The two sides signed a new contract, and Mendes also exposed that he became Liu Yi's agent, and this contract was what he helped Liu Yi win. For this agreement, Liu Yi and the fans of Langua, as well as those who supported him, naturally rejoiced. But more people, this is because the predecessor Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's tail is not big, let the club pay a penalty, and feel a little questioned. There is no doubt that a new contract has been delivered in just 3 games, which is completely unconscionable. If Liu's next performance is not good, then it will cost him more to fire him. The management of the club, completely unqualified, should be at least a season later, and then talk about a contract extension or a new contract, too impulsive. Not only celebrities, but also various analysts in society have expressed their incomprehension. There are also many sneers in China, but basically fans of other clubs, Manchester United fans are generally still supportive. After all, Liu Yi used only 3 games to stabilize the position of the Champions League group and used 2 big games to improve the points to 20 points. In the end, relying on the advantage of goal difference, Manchester City was pushed to 4th place in the table. Before Liu Yi took office, Manchester United had 1 goal difference and now it is 12, which is simply unbelievable considering that the opponents in both games are all Big Six members of the Premier League. The opponent in the next game, number 17 Watford, is clearly incapable of stopping what is now Manchester United. In the question and praise of Liu Yi, the Premier League is back, and in the 12th round, Manchester United will go away to challenge Watford. Because the players returning from the national team felt a little tired at the beginning, Liu Yi did not arrange any high-intensity training. 2 days before the game, Liu Yi recently entered the game for the first time, and after the thing became a job, his interest was much reduced. He used to be able to stay up late to play games for one night, but now he didn't even want to open it unless it was necessary. Unexpectedly, what awaited him was another system prompt. Congratulations to the host's players for scoring a hat-trick on the national team, rewarding the host for its charm, an enhanced version of the crowd that makes it easy for others to feel good about the host. Up to now, Liu Yi has not realized what benefits this thing can bring to himself, and the locker room is more harmonious? Getting along better with the players? Up to now, because of the big wins, the atmosphere in the locker room is indeed very good, and Liu Yi is not sure whether it has anything to do with this feature. Continuing the game, Watford was certainly not Manchester United's opponent, and just by simulating a match, Liu Yi achieved a satisfactory result. The next day, Liu Yi drove the top version of the Dragon Flag H9 Plus sent by the Dragon Flag Group to Carrington early, and the red and white colors also looked very angry, and the most important thing was that it did not cost money. Just in the middle of the road to meet Ronaldo, the two also said hello, back and forth into the training base parking lot. The reporters guarding the edge of the base pressed the shutter of the camera one after another, and the vehicle in which Liu Yi was riding also appeared in the public's line of sight. The domestic media is naturally not surprised, but just praised. Liu Yi is a qualified spokesperson. On the foreign network, Longwa's first luxury car Longqi brand, for the first time, obtained such a large exposure rate, which made Longwa FAW happy, and this transaction is worth it. After getting out of the car, Luo circled around the dragon flag and looked very interested. Boss, this is your Dragon Kingdom's car? Of course, there is no interest in coming to one, about £100,000. The specific price Liu Yi did not ask, but probably paid attention to a little before. Of course, the money thing, for the current value of Ronaldo, is completely sprinkling. The luxury car under his name, anyone is expensive, not to mention some limited edition supercars. Anyway, Liu Yi can't afford it now. In the past, Liu Yi did not think that he could drive more than 1 million cars in this life. Even for him now, more than 1 million cars are enough, just a means of transportation. He does not need to rely on this thing to prove his identity. As long as he stands on the Manchester United coaching bench, it is the best sign. Just like Sir Furfur at that time, he often drove a Chevrolet Camaro, and the price was not as expensive as this Dragon Flag H9 Plus extended version. In the locker room, the players are all concentrated here, which is what Liu Yi asked to go to the away game as a group, and he was not allowed to go there. Before Liu Yi did not arrive, everyone had said and laughed to share their observations, except for Pogba, who strained his muscles in the national team, and his face was uncomfortable and aggrieved. The outside world said that he was a fraudulent injury or deliberately injured himself and did not want to play for Manchester United. But he knows in his heart that if it is still Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he really does not want to play for him, but now Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has gotten out of the game, and now Manchester United manager is Liu. With the outbreak of Cristiano Ronaldo, Fred is getting better and better, and Pogba's tendency to stay in the team is becoming more and more obvious, and he feels the possibility of the team winning the honor. Watching Liu Yi and Luo push the door in, everyone was quiet and looked at the coach. It seems that no one is sleeping, and I am very satisfied with you. There are not many of them, even the injured Pogba has come, others have no reason, whether they can play or not, attitude is very important. Paul, you can recuperate at home. Liu Yi smiled and waved at Pogba. Coach, I want to be with the team, even if it's sitting in the stands, I can cheer for the team. Pogba stood up and made his attitude clear out loud. Liu Yi nodded again. If this guy is honest, it is really a big killer. Very well, now we set off for Watford and then there will be a training session and I don't want to see anyone leave the hotel at night, understand? Understood. There were a few players who wanted to go out and be dashing, and suddenly their hearts were in a daze, as if they were seen through by the manager, and they quickly made their attitude clear. Episode 46. Watford is a team with nothing to say, and it is worth mentioning that his head coach is the famous Portsmouth Ranieri. The blend has been in the top league for almost 3 decades and has often found work, including even top teams like Chelsea, Valencia, Atletico, and Inter. The most legendary nature is that in the 15-16 season, he led Leicester City, which was not favored at the time, staged the Leicester City miracle, and won the first Super League championship in the history of Leicester City. The level is naturally unquestionable. For such a football veteran, Liu Yi still has some respect. Of course, the premise is that Ranieri does not engage in any moffs. The match between Manchester United and Watford was just before the match between Chelsea and Leicester City, which has not been in good form recently, has stubbornly tied Chelsea by relying on the advantage of the home field. Also let Liu Yi chase the points, only as soon as possible to occupy the top of the list. The initiative to win the championship in their own hands, those Ian and young weird guys, can stop. Ranieri had watched United's last 3 games dozens of times before the game. A huge problem was eventually discovered, with both Tottenham and Atlanta or Manchester City ignoring the Fred player. Having never enjoyed a targeted treatment, Fred played so well in these 3 games that he even allowed Ranieri to see a hint of canter. The potmaker who feels that he has mastered the fate of Manchester United suddenly has some old fox-like smiles on his face, and if your boy is cunning like a fox, it will not escape the palm of my old hunter's hand. In these 2 days of training, Ranieri did this, so that his players do not be too polite to Fred to let this Brazilian dwarf feel the pressure of the European man. Naturally, the players have nothing to say, they are just executing the coach's arrangement, which is the basic requirement of a professional player. At the pre-match press conference, Ranieri, as the home coach, took the lead in speaking. One mouth surprised everyone, even Liu Yi, who was sitting next to him, felt a little surprised. This old man was taking the wrong medicine. Liu is a true tactical genius, he has deceived everyone. Manchester United's huge explosion of energy in his hands is not a matter of simple luck. I'm sure they're going to have a good run this season, but hopefully leave me with 3 points. I can't say I found a weakness in Manchester United, but I think there are some ideas to try, just in case. Ranieri said this with a look of confidence. The following reporter of the Liverpool Echo newspaper directly asked questions that everyone cared about. Will you beat Liu? Of course, we have to defend the dignity of the Premier League and let young people feel what the Premier League means. The reporters were excited, but Liu Yi was a little dazed. What is United's weakness? I don't know it myself, old Law, how do you know? Watching Lau leave with a confident face, he also reached out and patted Liu Yi's shoulder. I can't say whether it was a demonstration or anything else. His somewhat dazed expression, falling into the camera, is a different interpretation in the eyes of people with ulterior motives. Liu, are you frightened by Ranieri's statement? Your sisters, I was only slightly distracted, how I was frightened. If it weren't for hundreds of reporters and live cameras, Liu Yi would have wanted to open his mouth and swear words. Ranieri is a respected coach with numerous honors and victories. I am a newcomer to the Premier League and need to learn something from him. So, have you already conceded defeat? Admit your sister's loss, can't you hear Lao Tzu just being polite? How can it be so uninteresting? Of course not, Manchester United and I will fight for every win and will never concede. Another reporter stood up and fired a serious cannon at Liu Yi. Are you mentally prepared for your first defeat? Liu Yi directly blackened his face, threw off his chair and got up to leave the press conference, but after walking halfway, he looked back at the grandchildren and said word by word. I hope that after the game, you can still be here and think about these issues. Without giving anyone else another chance to ask questions, go straight back to the locker room. The old melons have all been cut off by me. You are a pot-mending maker, Lao La. Respect you to say something good. You are better than not knowing the good and the bad. In Watford's home team's locker room, Ranieri looked excited and danced to the players as he explained the tactics. Guys, I'm sure we're going to win, and when I said at the press conference that I knew the fate of Manchester United, the rookie coach of Manchester United, his face was very ugly. As a veteran European coach, Ranieri can hardly give Liu Yi enough respect. After all, the football of the Dragon Kingdom. Does Dragon have football? The players sitting around, looking at the passionate old coach Ranieri, were in a better mood. Worthy of being a famous coach who can win the championship with Leicester City, even Pep Guardiola cannot find the weakness of Manchester United, and now he has found it, admiration. Also, in the face of Manchester United's delicate stars, everyone may wish to move a little bigger, as long as it is not intentionally hurt, let them fear their hands and feet in front of us, and leave in frustration. In the end, for the sake of the 3 points and the fans, you must run the court and beat the opponent with more running, understand? Ranieri had a solemn look on his face and a resolute speech. Understood. Watford's players responded with a surge of morale and waited to go on and take out Manchester United, claim valuable 3 points, and humiliate the Giants. Aren't you a giant? But in the face of us Watford, you can only swallow the bitter fruit of defeat. Good fellows, the game hasn't started yet and Watford seems to have won first. Episode 47. Watford's morale skyrocketed strangely, so much so that they all had a look of shame and arrogance in the player aisle, which made Liu Yi feel a little strange. Where did these guys get the confidence to pose before the game started? On the sidelines, Ranieri took the initiative to shake hands with Liu Yi, smiled and said, "Young people, football still needs some experience." There's nothing wrong with that, but what do you mean by telling me this? The experience of failure is also very valuable, so watch a Premier League veteran perform on the sidelines. It turned out that Ranieri still had the second half of the sentence. Of course, the old fox was not without purpose, he was just to provoke Liu Yi, and the young man always couldn't hold his temper. After the warm-up, Liu Yi and the players returned to the locker room. Pogba was not in the squad because of an injury and waited in the stands early to watch the game and watch his teammates run on the field. In order to prevent other casualties, coupled with the strange behavior of Watford and Ranieri, Liu Yi decided to remind everyone. This game may not be easy, Watford is likely to adopt some rough tactics, I hope everyone is mentally prepared. Looking at Liu Yi's serious face, Luo stood up here and showed his attitude. Boss, please rest assured, when I was in the Premier League, the foul was much more serious than now, and the gang of people got heavier. Liu Yi also remembered the video and gif of Luo's violation in the Premier League that he had watched before, and the conclusion he got at that time was that it was really a blessing to be able to leave the Premier League alive. No matter what the opponent thinks, what method he wants to use to stop us, we Manchester United have to do our own thing, and we will continue to attack in this game. Then Carrick took out the small blackboard, and now Liu Yi didn't need him to discuss any tactics at all, and that was all that was left. Since Liu Yi took office, Manchester United's starting list will always be announced at the end. Rashford on the left, Ronaldo in the middle, Jesse Lingard on the right. Midfielders Buffet and Sancho were left and right, with Fred dragging slightly behind in the middle to take on more defensive tasks. At the back of the team Luke Shaw, because of injuries did not go to the national team. Varane and Bailey to get a chance. The only answer on the right is almost Wan-Bissaka. Fortunately England manager Southgate does not look up to Wan-Bissaka, he does not have a national team game. The goalkeeper is naturally De Gea, a duck in good shape now, and there is no reason to take him down. Moreover, as a meritorious deed in the team, the duck should still have the respect to be given. Greenwood, who didn't get the start, lowered his head and sighed slightly, but quickly perked up. After all, he was still young and had a lot of opportunities. However, McTominay was a little surprised. He originally thought that Pogba was injured, he should be able to get a chance, did not expect that the coach simply hit 433. Marcus Rashford, I need to see you keep sprinting forward and tearing through your opponent's defense with your speed, but also doing defensive tasks. Can you do it? Rashford, who did not go to the national team because of the cold, was in the best condition and stood up confidently. Trust me, coach. Liu Yi nodded with satisfaction and looked at Lingard, the Manchester United youth who got the starting line again. You drop Lin Huang. I'll do it well. Cristiano, keep playing your hat trick. Ronaldo has scored 4 hat-tricks in 4 consecutive games, and if he can score 3 goals in this game, that is 5 consecutive games, which is definitely an unprecedented achievement. But since the coach said it, he also nodded. Our slogan is attack harder, advance more cool. The team members shouted one after another. They were used to this, shouting was comfortable. Go ahead and let Watford know we're Manchester United. One by one, the players screamed and appeared in the players' tunnel, just minutes before the game began. The Vicarage Road Stadium, which can accommodate more than 20,000 people, is full of Watford fans, and less than 2,000 are Manchester United away fans. Watford's team song, with 20,000 people singing, waving various flags, to support the team. Liu Yi stood on the edge of the coach's bench when he suddenly heard someone in the back of his head shouting, "Damn Longwa people, we small clubs also have dreams that you capitalists don't have." Looking back, it was a teenage blonde-haired child. Liu Yi wanted to say to him, "You are right." But considering that he is not yet a capitalist, he finally made a cheering gesture to the other party, and the child hopes that after this game, you can still stick to your dreams. I hope that I don't leave any psychological shadow on my children. The referee is one of the famous Premier League Magic Four blinds, the condemned Atkinson, who alone gives Liu Yi a sense of danger, bigger than the Hornets' Watford team. With a whistle from Atkinson, the game officially began. In the Longwell live broadcast room, Jean-June and Zhang continued to guide them to bring explanations to everyone. Welcome back. In the 12th round of the Premier League, Manchester United's away game against Watford has officially begun, and Jean-June and Zhang have provided you with a commentary. You can see that Watford's morale is very high, and he plays with confidence, and he has the idea of wanting to play against Manchester United, he. As soon as James' voice fell, Watford got a chance, and after the midfield took the ball, Watford Sissoko passed the ball to the feet of Dennis on the left. Dennis broke through to the bottom and was destroyed by Wan-Bissaka, and the sideline ball was thrown directly into the box. Maybe the game had just started, the body wasn't hot enough to get into shape yet, and Bailey's kick was on his calf and the ball went straight to the goal. Liu Yi thought that the result of the game was going to be rewritten, and his nervous palms were sweating. One foot reached from the other side to kick the ball out of the bottom line, and it was Marcus Rashford who defended the corner, and the whole United team breathed a sigh of relief. Liu Yi's face was ugly, and he roared a few times into the field. On the other side, Ranieri smiled like a flower, a face like a blooming old chrysanthemum, and this attempt passed on his confidence to the players. In the Longwell live broadcast room, Jean-June and Zhang Ji were also a little nervous, pinching a cold sweat for Liu Yi. They deeply understood the fact that there were countless people waiting for Liu Yi to make a mistake or fail. Jean-June, as soon as the game started, Watford got a corner, and you can see that they are very confident today. Zhang directed, Manchester United need to get into the game as soon as possible, otherwise Watford will not give them time. Episode 48. The game went on, and United's big-name players, in Liu Yi's angry roar, quickly focused their attention. After all, everyone knows that if they can't play well, then the end is obvious. Look at Maguire on the bench, he was only in danger of not conceding the ball a few times because of a mistake, and now he has been pressed on the bench for 2 consecutive games. In this way, countless media and football-related people shouted Liu Yi. After all, I had just sat in the coach's seat, and it had only been a few games before I dared to take down the captain of the team, the 80 million central defenders. In the live broadcast room of the Dragon Kingdom, Jean-June and Zhang Ji could always think of blowing methods. After the game fell under the control of Manchester United, the two talked about it in passing. After all, the mistake of Bailey just now was also outrageous. It can be seen that Liu Yi is still supported by most people in the locker room. This is absolute. You see, Maguire was taken down, including himself did not say anything. It can be seen that it is deeply popular. But all this is based on Liu Yi's continuous victory, and if it fails, I am afraid that it will usher in a volcanic eruption. The head coach of the Giants is not easy to do. There is not enough status and honor. It is difficult to convince these arrogant soldiers, a huge powder keg. As the two were talking, the situation on the pitch had changed, and United's patient conduction finally tore through Watford's defense. A long pass from midfielder on the left shifted the ball to the right, and Sancho on the right had noticed Rashford on the left and began to thrust in quickly. The defender next to him, slightly inattentive, had been completely thrown away 3 meters away. Sancho's pass, accurate on Rashford's running route, easily controlled by Rashford and has reached the edge of the box. Watford's players were on the verge of a fierce enemy and surrounded him. Marcus Rashford, a handsome bull's tail, burst into the box from the right side of the defender and passed the ball to Jesse Lingard on the other side. Jesse Lingard jumped the ball gently and the ball returned to the middle of the road, a very suitable height. Ronaldo, who rushed in from outside the penalty area, accurately put his head on the football, and the football smashed into the goal behind the goalkeeper like a cannonball. The Watford fans, who were just elated, felt that they might have a chance to win Manchester United, but they did not expect this, and the game lasted until 10 minutes, and they took the lead in conceding the goal. Liu Yi on the sidelines, waving his fist to celebrate passionately, attracted a lot of attention. After all, he is a passionate coach and has always been able to play big games, which is much more interesting than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who often collapses on the coaching bench with a blank and helpless face. Ranieri on the other side didn't feel very good. How did the game not quite as he imagined? Manchester United actually scored first. It must have been an accident, it must have been. If it wasn't for Sancho's pass being too accurate, Marcus Rashford wouldn't have gotten the ball at all, and there would have been no subsequent goals, and everything had been expected before that. After making sure there was no problem, Ranieri calmed down again, still with a calm face on his face, and waved to the players, signaling that everything was business as usual. The players, who had been a little flustered, immediately regained their composure after seeing the coach's instructions. Fred in the mall today, I was a bit surprised. Usually he is the one who is not valued, but today, there are always Watford players staring at him. Not only does it block his passing route at all times, but it is even accompanied by a lot of physical confrontation. Even the reinforced Fred, lest this situation be in this situation, still feels very uncomfortable, but fortunately he is a blue-collar player himself, doing physical and dirty work. As long as the snatched ball can be passed out in time, whether it is Varane behind him, or Bfe and Sancho on the left and right, the boss does not ask for this. Gradually, the others also saw that it was inexplicably arranged by Ranieri's hand. Manchester United's main passer is Bfe, Sancho on the right side is also counted as one. What do you do to grab a guy who spares no effort and covers a large area? The point is that you have the kind of player who has a lot of physical strength. Can you keep up with a small man like Fred? With such an obvious problem, Ranieri was clearly a fan of the authorities, and he was almost focused on Fred, so the punishment came quickly. 39 minutes into the game, Fred broke the ball in midfield and passed it back to Varane. Varane crossed the midfield directly, passing a long pass to Marcus Rashford, who rushed up on the left, and Marcus Rashford with the ball began to cut inside with the ball, and Luke Shaw behind him quickly set the edge. Ronaldo in the middle is already in place, the beefy behind him is also closely followed, and Jesse Lingard at the back of the goal is also in place. In the direction of the right side of the top of the arc, Sancho also appeared in the position on time. In this instant, Rashford finally felt how tough the new coach was, and he had several ways to deal with it, each of which made the opponent uncomfortable. Before Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, almost all he could do was rush over and shoot at the goal, or pass it back to the people behind him. Liu Yi, who clenched his fists on the sidelines and was ready to celebrate, naturally did not expect that he had ushered in a significant increase in player loyalty. Between the electric flint and the flint, so many things flashed through his mind, and he missed the last chance to knock on the door. 4 players have surrounded him, and the Manchester United fans who are watching the live broadcast are sighing, and the question of Marcus Rashford's choice in high-speed dribbling is already an old problem. This time, however, Marcus Rashford had a flash of inspiration and seemed to be back in his youth team, covered in the technical cells of the storm. Slamming the bike with both feet, but in reality it was a fake move, taking advantage of the commotion of the defender, passing the ball to Luke Shaw near the bottom line with one heel. Luke Shaw rubbed the ball up and drew an arc in the air, conveying. No, it was passed to the position of the back point. The middle C Luo attracted several defensive players, and the Lin Huang at the back point was completely empty. Liu jumped up high and waved his fist fiercely. Ranieri on the other side, full of despair, what is the problem? Obviously I have found the fate of Manchester United. Episode 49. Lingard did not wait for the football to stop, directly volleyed his foot and shot furiously, and then kicked the back of the outer foot, kicking. Just when he was a little embarrassed and disappointed, the football actually appeared in the middle of the road, with his back to the goal, and did not hesitate to take off. The body is off the ground, the right leg is raised high, and the toes are firmly kicked to the right side. The goalkeeper only had time to make a gesture of raising his hands, and then watched the ball enter the goal behind him, and let out an unwilling roar. In the live broadcast room, Zhang Jun and Zhang Ji have begun to shout. Nice passes and barbs, Ronaldo has scored another goal, he has recently scored 4 hat-tricks in a row, is this going to be the 5th? Lingard's foot is as heavy as a weight, and the fake shot is really faxed. You will find that Emperor Lin did not look at Si Luo from the beginning to the end. Maybe this is the tacit understanding between master and apprentice, he knows that the apprentice will not let himself down. In a good mood, Zhang Jun also explained to everyone that Lin Huang and Si Luo's master and apprentice terrier. Liu Yi on the sidelines knew that there would be a goal, but did not expect it to be so beautiful, from Varane to Rashford, to Luke Shaw and Lingard, and finally see Ronaldo ended the game with a beautiful barb. In fact, even Bfe and Sancho, who did not touch the ball, were also involved in this attack, and presumably countless self-media and commentators after the game will realize this. With one victory after another, and a victory of big scores, everyone's evaluation of Liu Yi has changed from a lucky garbage to a rookie coach who enjoys the dividends of changing coaches. The biggest improvement is that at least Liu Yi is admitted as a coach. At the end of the first half, Manchester United entered the dressing room with a 2-ball advantage. Everyone was in a very good mood, everyone could feel that this game must be won. In the home team's locker room, Ranieri, with an ugly face, seems to have regained some confidence. Clap their hands and signal the players to focus on themselves before they start talking. Have you noticed that in the first half Manchester United only scored 2 goals? You know, there were often 3 or 4 before, which shows that our tactics are effective. The players were a little frustrated to hear the manager think, yes. As strong as Manchester City, they were all sieved by Manchester United at halftime, and C. Ronaldo directly scored a hat-trick, and we only let C. Ronaldo score 2 goals in the first half. Does this prove that our set is better than Manchester City? True, everything is figured out, and the potmaker Ranieri is worthy of the old fox, and even pushed the problem that Guardiola could not solve, and pushed forward greatly. In the away locker room of Manchester United, Liu Yi smiled and patted Ronaldo's shoulder. Lao Luo, score early goals and rest early in the second half. For this kind of title, C. Luo can only agree with the coach's idea after protesting ineffectively. After all, Guardiola is also an old melon in the mouth of the boss. Fred, you have encountered a lot of physical confrontation on the job, although the performance is much better than before, but Zamabu still has to continue, you must not relax. We have an old saying in the Dragon Country, sail against the current, if you don't advance, you will retreat. Fred nodded vigorously, his heart full of emotion, and sure enough, the boss had been paying attention to himself, even if he was not a superstar like Cristiano, nor a prince like Marcus. Against a team like Watford, we have to seek control, whether it's space or ball possession, and try to avoid the other side from smashing a hammer. So, I need everyone to move, don't let me see who's on the pitch, pestle like a pillar, or don't blame me for not being polite. Hearing Liu Yi's words, the others did not feel anything, but Mahal, who was sitting next to him, silently lowered his head. He knows he is not running actively on the field, which has been criticized by many people, but recently with the departure of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the team's performance has been greatly improved, and he is also adjusting his form. As long as the coach gives himself a chance, then he must seize it, Marshall is in his heart, secretly swearing. Whether it is rotation or substitution, there is no doubt that the new coach has done so much better than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, which is why in such a short period of time, it has been supported by everyone. Doesn't Maguire want to do things? It's not that he doesn't want to move, he doesn't dare to move. In itself, his captain is a bit intriguing, coupled with the performance on the field is not satisfactory, and he does not come out of the head when encountering things. You can imagine how many people can convince him. Now Liu Yi's influence is getting higher and higher every day, whether in the hearts of players or among fans, the position of coach has almost been completely secured. At the start of the second half, Jesse Lingard and Marcus Rashford switched positions, dribbled the ball into the box from the left, and were directly put down on the pitch by 2 Watford players. Without waiting for him to stand up, the referee, who had no sense of presence for the whole game, the famous Atkinson, decisively blew the whistle and gave Lin Huang a yellow card. Then make a gesture indicating that Lin Huang is a fake fall. Lin Huang helplessly spread his hands, I didn't do anything, I just fell in the penalty area, and I didn't point the ball, how to fake it. Footage in the live room gives replay. From this point of view, Watford's defender really did not kick the ball, but directly shoved Lin Huang to the ground, and it was 2 people, and the penalty was justified. Even if you don't award a penalty, Lingard didn't ask for it, what did you give him a yellow card? On the sidelines, Liu Yi still encountered the magical 4 blindness for the first time, and sure enough, he gave himself a surprise, and immediately rushed to the 4th official on the sidelines. Hey, sir, if that's not a misjudgment, I don't think a video referee needs to. The 4th official politely held out a hand to Liu Yi, I will record all this truthfully in the game record. Atkinson stubbornly insisted on the penalty, and then waved his hand at the United players, signaling to start the game quickly and not to delay time. Episode 50. This was just the beginning, and in the following game, Fred made a crisp and clean steal. Just as he was about to launch a counterattack, the referee's inexhaustible whistle sounded again, indicating that he had a foul on his hand when he grabbed the ball. Not only did Fred get a yellow card, but he also gave Watford a threatening free kick from the front. At this time, the game has been going on to 50 minutes, Liu Yi finally figured it out. It seems that the referee came with a task, maybe the Premier League does not allow such a good existence of himself. Watford's free kick, which smashed directly onto the crossbar, popped off the bottom line. The camera immediately swept over Atkinson's face and saw the referee with a long sigh and a look of regret. As a professional referee, it is naturally undeserved to make these unreasonable decisions, not to mention this kind of behavior that clearly regrets Watford. Atkinson is known to be a Blues Chelsea fan, not a Watford fan. After this wave of temptation, the old fox Ranieri instantly understood, and immediately waved his hand, signaling the players to increase their movements, work well for the FA, and in the next game, they can also get some benefits. The players on the pitch also think the same way. What happens when the referee is biased towards themselves? They are all old Premier League fritters, and they all know it. Fred had just taken the ball in midfield, and a kick went out with a kick, and not far away, Watford midfielder Kutska rushed straight up and knocked him to the ground. In a non-confrontational collision, the referee stood on the side, but as if he was blind, he did not see it. Fred didn't complain, and there was no other superfluous action, just getting up from the ground. He had more important things to do, to help the boss control the scene and win the game. As he said, he is willing to give everything for Liu Yi, and now it is obvious that the team is targeted. As the only two players in the team who have been specially cared for, he has to fight harder. Ronaldo in the front court got the ball, looked at the left of the RA master has rushed out, did not hesitate to make a shooting action, attracted the attention of several defensive players, and passed the ball out. After Marcus Rashford took the ball, without the slightest hesitation, he swept the ball directly into the box. Jesse Lingard, who had been impatient for a long time, shot the ball at the goal, only to be blocked by goalkeeper Foster, and the football chaos appeared at the feet of Ronaldo. Needless to say, United scored again. But before they could start celebrating, Atkinson's whistle rang out, pointing to the position of the goal and making another offside position. A useful finger pointed to C. Luo, indicating that C. Luo was already in an offside position when he received the ball before. On the big screen, the goal just scored is being replayed, and at the moment of receiving the ball, Watford left-back Danny Rose is just standing behind, a full position. In almost all of the world's live broadcast rooms, the narrators make similar comments. "Oh God, Atkinson made a major misjudgment, and it's a good ball. Damn Atkinson, kill Ronaldo's hat-trick, don't show up in Portugal or I'll make you look good. I feel that Ronaldo should not be offside, let's see the return visit, it is indeed a misjudgment, Danny Rose is behind, Atkinson is worthy of being one of the four blind men." In the Longwell live broadcast room, Zhang Jun and Zhang Ji also made a joke when they analyzed. Liu Yi came to the fourth official again, pointed to the big screen that was being replayed, and no matter how the video referee drew the line, this is a good ball that does not offside. Liu, I will write all this in the report. Without waiting for Liu Yi to speak, the fourth official made an official response, and he could only do so. Liu Yi helplessly learned from foreigners and made a shrugging action, which probably means that you are happy. Returning to the front of the coaching bench with an ugly face, Liu Yi clasped his fists in both hands, stared dead at the football field, and shouted at the Bife who ran over. "Let everyone be careful of getting hurt." Bife nodded. He himself is still a kind of endurance, has been coming to Manchester United for so long, and has not been injured much. Just 2 minutes later, Bife took the ball in front of him and turned to pass the ball into the box, but Watford's midfielder Hansel was already rushing towards him. Without closing his legs, nor did he have the intention of stopping, he directly raised his feet and lit up the spikes, and carried them heavily on the ankles of Bife. B's somewhat thin body was directly shoved up by the other side, and a muffled hum of pain emanated from his mouth, and the fourth official on the sidelines all stayed. Liu Yi rushed towards Ranieri and roared angrily at him, "Ranieri, are all your players squires?" Ranieri's anger at Liu Yi was full of indifference and randomness. "Rookie of the Dragon Kingdom, it is normal to have some physical contact on the football field. If you can't accept it, go back to the Dragon Kingdom to be your mother's cannon. Go to your uncle's, wait for Lao Tzu." Liu Yi directly scolded in dragon language, thanks to the fact that these people could not understand, otherwise they would definitely take the red card. The team doctor was on the field, and after a simple treatment, he waved his hand to Liu Yi and signaled that Bife could not hold on. Inside the Sky Sports live broadcast room, Carragher is explaining the game. "I think Liu should go up to a tough mic and stabilize the situation in midfield. With 2 goals ahead, the opponent moves so much, it is understandable to be conservative." Gary Neville also expressed support. However, the live camera fell on Liu Yi's face, a young man from the Dragon Kingdom, who unabashedly wrote his anger on his face, and there seemed to be flames burning in his eyes. "Isn't it the referee, Lao Tzu, doesn't believe in this evil?